Today we will discuss in detail verse 8 of Canto 1, Sutrapadika Varnanam of the Maharamayana. Like a guru guiding a sincere disciple, we're going to unravel a single, incredibly potent verse that answers a massive question humanity has struggled with for literally millennia. Do we achieve ultimate freedom through deep intellectual meditation or through rigorous worldly action? Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the context of verse 8. Second, decoding the Sanskrit text. Third, the philosophical core. Fourth, modern science and psychology. Fifth, practical application. And finally, a quick summary and a look at our next verse. Section 1. Context of verse 8. The dilemma of Karunya. All right, before we unpack the deep meaning here, we've got to set the stage with a story. So we have a sage named Sutikshna who approaches sage Agastya. He's asking if liberation is achieved through action or knowledge. Agastya answers by narrating the story of Karunya. Now, Karunya was this brilliant young guy who, after thoroughly studying the Vedas, concluded that physical actions were just pointless. So he completely abandoned his daily duties. His father, obviously deeply concerned, rebukes him for this extreme withdrawal. When we consult page 4 of the classical manuscript from the Nirnaya Sagar Press edition, we actually find Agastya's definitive answer, correcting the young man's flawed logic. This artifact really grounds us, It reminds us that we're analyzing a precise historical syllabus of human consciousness. Section 2. Decoding the Sanskrit text, word by word. The simple, literal English translation of this beautiful verse reveals a profound truth. Ultimate freedom requires a balanced mastery of two distinct forces. Let's actually break the Sanskrit down. Kevalat means only or alone. Karmano means from action. Jnana means from knowledge. Nahi means not. And mokshobhijayate means is liberation born or attained. Moving to the second line, kintu means but. Ubabhyam means by both. Bhava moksha means liberation happens. Sadhanam means the means or instrument. Tubhyam means certainly both. And finally, vidu means the wise know. So putting it all together, the wise know that liberation is not born from action alone, nor from knowledge alone. Rather, both together absolutely constitute the means. Let's isolate that first crucial term, jhana. Now, jhana represents far more than mere information. It's the illuminating light of deep inner comprehension. In the classical Vedic sense, jhana is quite literally the removal of ignorance. It's waking up to the realization of who you truly are, way beyond your physical body and mind. It gives you the theoretical framework of the universe. But, and this is a big but, as Karunya discovered in our story, having jhana without actually applying it can lead to a state of total paralysis or apathy. Think of it like this. You might know absolutely everything about the physics of water, but you still have to swim. Conversely, we have karma. This is the vital outward movement. It's the physical discipline and the necessary execution of your duties in the tangible world. Karma encompasses your responsibilities to your family, your society, and to yourself. It's the everyday friction of reality. You see, lots of people act constantly, right? They busy themselves from dawn till dusk, but without the guiding light of jnana, this action is basically blind and just leads to endless exhaustion. Basically, karma is the engine, but jnana is the steering wheel. And finally, moksha. This is the ultimate destination, the absolute liberation that the verse insists cannot be reached by just picking one of these paths over the other. And moksha isn't just some abstract afterlife concept. It means living right now in a state of absolute clarity, completely free from psychological suffering, anxieties, and the illusions of the ego. It's the ultimate goal of the Yoga Vashistha. And this brilliantly illustrates the core thesis of our explainer today. Moksha demands a synthesis, not a separation. Section 3. Philosophical and spiritual core, the metaphor of the bird. Drawing from a stunning metaphor introduced in the previous verse, this perfectly illustrates that just as a bird cannot fly with only one wing, spiritual flight is completely impossible if knowledge is stagnant without action, or if action is blind without knowledge. I mean, think about it. If a bird tries to fly using only the wing of knowledge, it just spins in circles of intellectual arrogance. If it flops only the wing of action, it exhausts itself in mindless labor without ever lifting a single inch off the ground. The spiritual significance here is monumental. True non-duality, or Advaita, doesn't mean rejecting the physical world, not at all. It means embracing your worldly duties while simultaneously maintaining inner detachment and wisdom. The inner world and the outer world must flap in perfect unison. Section 4. Modern Science and Psychology.
bridging the ancient and contemporary.
Now, you might be wondering, how does a thousands of years old sutra map onto our contemporary understanding of the human mind? Well, today, we face a massive crisis of overthinking. We consume endless self-help content, listen to audiobooks, read articles. This is basically our modern pursuit of jnana. And yet, anxiety and depression rates are skyrocketing. Why? Because we totally fail to implement this knowledge into our daily routines, which is our karma. Look at modern clinical psychology. Curing mental distress, which is kind of our modern version of liberation, requires both cognitive therapy to understand the mind and behavioral therapy to actively change our habits in the real world. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, a patient first has to achieve cognitive insight. They identify cognitive distortions and understand exactly why they suffer. That right there is jhana. But insight alone rarely cures a phobia or severe depression. The patient then has to engage in behavioral activation. They have to gradually expose themselves to their fears, do the hard work, and actually change their daily routine. That is karma. So psychological liberation strictly follows Sage Agastya's ancient formula, Kantapabhyam bhavin moksha. By both means, liberation is attained.
Section 5. Practical application in life. Living the wisdom. Philosophy and science mean absolutely nothing if they can't be lived. To live the wisdom of verse 8, you have to actively synthesize your learning with your doing. Ensure that every single insight you gain is tested and applied through tangible, righteous action. So here's what you can actually do in your own life. First, stop overanalyzing without taking steps. If you read a book on leadership, go actually lead someone. Second, stop acting impulsively. Before you start your daily grind, pause and reflect on your higher purpose. Third, realize that your daily job, your chores, your family responsibilities, they aren't distractions from your spiritual growth. They are the exact arena where that growth is tested. Ground your lofty intellectual study in the dirt of reality.
Section 6. Summary and next verse. The blueprint of existence. The logical flow of verse 8 gives us a crystal clear 3-step blueprint for a fulfilled and liberated existence. Step 1. Acquire inner wisdom, or jnana. Study, reflect, and truly understand the nature of your mind. Step 2. Don't just stop there. Step out into the world and execute your righteous duties, your karma, with absolute excellence and detachment. Step 3. Only through the friction of knowledge, tested by action, will you arrive at true moksha, a state of unshakable peace and ultimate freedom. Remember, both wings are absolutely required for flight. This crucial synthesis leaves us with a highly provocative question, perfectly setting up the logical connection to verse 9, where the text explores the absolute dangers of abandoning our actions. Think about it. If a person, just like young Karunya, falsely assumes that being spiritual means abandoning society, work, and duty, what actually happens to their mind? Are they truly liberated? Or have they just fallen into a brand new trap of laziness, completely masked as enlightenment? The Maharamayana pulls no punches in answering this, and we will decode that fascinating continuation in our next explainer.
On behalf of the Vedmata AI family, it is our humble request that if you found our presentation informative, please share our video as widely as possible so that the authentic knowledge of Indian Vedic texts can reach the masses. Come, let us all participate in this yagya of knowledge. Har Har Mahar.